Hi, my name is Davies, and I've helped multiple property business owners scale to multiple six figures, and I always see the same thing tripping people up when they're getting started. I'm not trying to sell you anything here, I just want to give you straight value, and if you can take away these lessons, then you can get to that first 10K and beyond. So if I just help one person, I've done my job here. So now let's get into it. The first thing I see people getting tripped up on is what is called the emotional cycle of change. Here's how it works, right? So there's 5 stages that people get stuck in this game, and 99% of them never get past stage 3. I'm gonna break it down on the blackboard, stage by stage, and how you could overcome each of these, and ultimately that'll lead you to success. And by the way, I'm absolutely useless drawing, so please bear with me. So from the y-axis to the x-axis, you've got the emotional change, EC, and then you've got time right on this axis here. So going across, and you've got that going up there. Where you start on this emotional cycle of change, and believe me, it is an absolute emotional roller coaster going through business if you haven't done it before, or even when you're in it, right? It can be an emotional cycle. So we've got to go through and understand the emotions that we're feeling, because a lot of the emotions are not based necessarily in logic. So you have to understand how those emotions are affecting your decisions. So you typically start off with what is called uninformed optimism. So this is stage 1, right? ST1. So stage 1 is uninformed optimism. And with uninformed optimism, the thing is, people get bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with this stuff. There's the marketing and the big promises of 6 figures this and passive income that. Look, my story is I got pulled into the idea, but I already had a cash flow business in a marketing agency, and I wanted to have passive income, and then got sold on the idea of sourcing and large chunks of money. So the further you go down the funnels and you see all these different opportunities, you go, wow, look at all the money you can make there. And the thing is, right, it's 100% possible, but it's just not probable, and not before you end up going through this emotional roller coaster that I'm going to take you through. First thing that I really need you to understand is to realign your expectations. You wouldn't go and get a degree and expect to be coming out and having a 6-figure job at start, right? So you haven't even got the education in place right yet, right? So you haven't done the 3-4 years that it took to even get the entry-level job. So why do we think that it's any different? So get the idea of making money out of your head is the first thing. Just think, I'm building the foundational skills that are gonna set me up for the rest of my life. If you have that expectation, then you will be much better off than the people who are thinking, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna leave my job and I'm gonna do this in the next 6 months, right? Or 30 days, 90 days, or whatever the kind of marketing has said, right? Like, the thing is, most people who leave their job too early end up going broke, and before you know it, they're doing deliveries. And you might laugh, but the thing is, it happens more than you'll ever know. People don't have that consistency in the revenue, they don't have the skill sets, and they don't have a lot of the network necessary to do it, so they end up falling short. So don't be one of those people, stick in it, do the job by the same time, realign your expectations so you know that it's really about the skills building, the characteristics and the traits, and that leads me into stage 2. So stage 2 is informed pessimism. So once you understand and you've got all of this information coming in, informed IP stage 2. So this informed pessimism, the optimism begins to wane, right? The overwhelm of information, the deal structure, the project management, the compliances, the marketing, the sales, and each of those then has a subdivision. So each subdivision of marketing is like organic content, paid ads, you've got copywriting, you've got funnel building, you've got all that stuff. And then remind the compliances and planning and all the other things that you need to know, right? So it's like trying to drink from a garden hose at full blast, right? It's harder than you thought it was going to be. And the thing right here, and this is the big tip that you need to take away, is that this part is really about locking in and building those skills necessary so you can earn the money, right? The idea of earning money needs to get out of your head, and I know I said that before, but you just need to understand money out of the head, then it's all about the mindset. The thing that hinders most entrepreneurs, especially starting in property space, whatever business it is the mindset. Essentially, you need to build new characteristics, traits, and beliefs to become a person capable of running a six-figure business. And those capabilities and beliefs are the thing that separates the person who gets success and the person who doesn't. The mindset and how you think are the things that are going to essentially turn everything around for you. So let me give you a story. When going into pretty much anything, the thing is, it's how you think about something that elicits a different response. So what I mean by that is, if I think about a problem and my thought process is flawed going into it, right? The coding, let's say this is a program and the coding goes in, then if the inputs that I put into the coding are wrong, then I'm going to get the wrong output. And most people are struggling with the inputs, yeah? They haven't got the right coding, they haven't got the right software in place either. So if you think about programming software, yeah, and think of the software as your mind, you got the right hardware, you got the body, you got everything like that, you got the physical capabilities of doing these things, and you've got software but the wrong code. And that is essentially how business is. Until you become the type of person who has the right inputs and codes, then you've got the capability, but until those things have been written in the correct way and then processed in the correct way, then the code won't run and it won't execute. So that's stopping the execution. That's stopping you getting where you want to be, right? So if you think about it like that, every time that you then update your knowledge to be able to write better code, and then you're able to run the code in the system, then you can execute. And that's what we're trying to do for the first year, is just being able to be proficient in our execution, giving the right data in and giving the right information in so we can get the right outputs. And most people's data at the beginning is flawed. So you need to take out all the crappy code that was already there and then put in new code. And that's why it's so hard for the first year of getting this stuff running. So this leads me on to the third stage, which is the valley of despair. So this is right here, valley of despair. So stage 3. This is where most people end up giving up. And the reason? Motivation is at an all-time low. Look, you've been trying to do this thing and maybe not getting the results you've hoped for. What tends to happen at this point is that other opportunities then become more attractive. So there's a big service accommodation opportunity because you can see people getting loads of bookings. You can see this rent-to-rent HMO thing where this guy's got 20 deals. Oh, there's a conversion going on for 100K profit. Here's the thing, they all work. They just suck, right? They ultimately just suck, and you need to choose your suck, right? If you're doing sourcing and then you look at somebody else doing this other thing, they're all gonna suck. You just need to choose the one that you're gonna do, and you've already cut your time into this one, so you have a lot more experience. Like, there are genuine reasons why to change, and I've seen it time and time again where somebody comes to me and they've been doing this thing for a long time, and for example, we had one client who had not enough property in the area to buy, so they were really limited by how many offers they could put in because there was literally barely any properties on the market. So if you're in an area, in a location, you're trying to sell a specific strategy, then sometimes things genuinely don't work. Most of the time, it's not that case, by the way, but sometimes you do have those limitations and they can be there. So you need to understand, is this something that is just an emotional thing, or is it factual that this isn't necessarily going to work within the area that I'm at? So you need to understand what that is, and going through that process and just sticking with something till it's a dead horse usually isn't the answer, right? What we really need to understand is what the long-term vision is so that we can stick to a course, but the course and the path to get there changes over time, right? I want the end destination to be there, but I want to be able to change my path based on what my feedback is and not just my emotions. Look, the other instance is where there are easier options for you. So take you've got experience, maybe you have been in IT, you've been in marketing, you've been in construction, whatever it is, or maybe a roofer. Let's give an example. So I had someone come to me who was a roofer, and this guy was really struggling within his sourcing business. And he just signed up to a program, spent a lot of money, but the thing was, he was trying to do this, and you could tell that he didn't really know what he was doing, and he had a lot of optimism, let's say, for the whole thing, right? He had a lot of optimism that was going on, but he was definitely at this stage, right? The optimism. And what we kind of deciphered was that he had bigger skills in other areas. Like, the guy told me that he was Young Roofer of the Year, and he had a real passion for roofing. And it just seems simple, but obviously, why don't you set up a roofing business in which you've got all of this experience and you've even got accolades within the industry? And I could clearly tell he loved roofing, right? Like, genuinely, he loved roofing, but he's chose to do a business that's completely separate. And we had the conversation, and it's just like, boom, the eyes are wide open. He's starting to see that maybe there is a better path for him, where he's not starting on the exact same level as everybody else. Like, if I've got a competitive advantage and I've been doing this for so many years, why would I not use that competitive advantage? So obviously, if you absolutely hate your job, maybe a bit different. But if you don't, and you're just doing this for the money, then you really need to understand what is it that you could do otherwise, which maybe gives you a better choice. Like, you're not gonna find other gurus telling you this. I'm not saying like, hey, property might not be the thing for you. You can make money elsewhere and then invest in property. Like, that is a genuine viable option, right? You don't have to be in property to make money in property, right? Like, full-time, that is. So have that understanding of what are your skill sets. Is this something I'm doing just to make the money, or is it that I've got a genuine passion for doing this thing? And if you've got skills other places, you might find it easier going somewhere else. But the other side of it is that if you do, just stick in there, right? Like, the thing that really hurts most people is that they just cycle through stage 1 and stage 3. So they just get this like cyclical thing where they're finding a new thing, and they get into the valley of despair, and their emotionals hit them, and they just keep cycling. And they can stay there for years and years and years. Like, I know some people who've been doing this, you know, over 5, maybe even 10 years, doing exactly the same thing, jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. And like, I've been a victim of this myself, like jumping at things, right? You can be capable of doing things and you can make them somewhat successful, but you never get that benefit of compounding. Look, Warren Buffett, he's definitely inspired a lot of things that I've started to do based on that feedback of just give it enough time. And his wealth was, the majority of his wealth was made on these latter part of the years that he's been alive. So it was just that consistency over time and then the massive uptick at the end, right? So it's exponential, but we don't see that because if you're starting back and forth here, you're not compounding your efforts. And just look at somebody who's been in the game for longer with just one thing, they're gonna outstrip someone majority of the times. So just think, can I stick in with this? If I do enjoy it and it's something that I genuinely want to do, stick in there and just don't give up. And this also goes back to what I said about realigning your expectations. Like, the marketing says that you can make this kind of money in 90 days, they can make it in weeks. The honest answer, it could take 12 months, it could take up to 36 months to start making 10K consistently. Look, you could do it sooner, but it's possible, it's just not probable. And if this is truly for you, just don't quit, right? You are playing your own game, so don't look at what all the other people are doing. People have hidden advantages that you don't see. They've got skills, traits, network, money. There's a bunch of things that you don't see. So if you're coming into that game and they've got unseen advantages, then you're not playing the same game as them. So you need to understand where your starting point is in comparison to them. And comparison is the thief of joy. And that's the best way to put it. Get that out of your head. Don't compare yourself to other people. You just need to not give up and make sure that it's the right thing for you, right? So a couple of things we always help people do is making sure that it's actually right for them and understanding the strategy they need to implement from there. But commitment to the long-term vision is what you need. And if you've got that, then you can stick in through to the end. This then leads us on to informed optimism, which is stage 4. So now you're coming back up, right? So like informed optimism, IO. Yeah, I told you it's pretty much terrible, right? Like my whole writing, but you know what I mean, right? So stage 4. At this stage, you've stuck in there. So like, there's a massive congratulations. You've stuck in there. You now understand the information, right? Informed means that you have understood the information, you understand how hard it's actually going to be, and you've taken all that on board, you have the knowledge, and you start to develop those skills. The question you need to ask at this very stage then is, am I surrounding myself with the right people? Most people are not surrounding themselves with the right people, and it becomes harder and harder the more successful you become. Early stages is going to be okay, but really the thing is, you need to be surrounding yourself with people who are ideally at 2 years further than yourself within the business, or at least taking action. That's the very least, but like, make sure that they're around about 2 years ahead of you, okay? It's easier to find at the start, like I said, but it becomes much harder the further you go. And the other thing you need is a community. So the community should be able to challenge you and course correct you as you go through. So I would want to make sure that I was around people who were going to challenge my bullshit and my thinking, because the biggest breakthroughs you have are through people who are going to challenge your thinking and your process. There's so many times when I've worked with business owners, particularly in this property space, where I've challenged them on payment structures, how things should be. It's just because they don't know any better and they don't know what's possible. If you take somebody who's doing 1 or 2 deals to 10 deals per month, there's a big shift that needs to be created. And there's a load of other things there that they just might not feel are possible. So you've got to break and bend their reality. And you only get that and understand that from seeing other people also doing it and also people winning, right? Having a community where there are people who are winning and doing the same thing as you are, and a close community, really does help. And that's been one of the biggest breakthroughs that I've had. Step 5 then is success and fulfillment. So success and fulfillment is that we've got to the other end. So stage 5, success and fulfillment. This is where everybody wants to be, is that they've actually hit this 10K mark. And here's the thing. You either continue to grow from here or you then stagnate, right? Like you could either end up going down here, or you could end up continuing to grow and pushing on past 10K per month, past your first 10K, but I mean 10K months, you could go on to 20 to 30K per month and potentially even further, right? And once you've hit that first 10K, you'll know if you're not getting the results and you start to stagnate, because what will be a symptom of that will be inconsistent deal flow, right? So the inconsistent deal flow then means that you're not actually building on what it is that you've been doing. And the reason that is you lack scalable, repeatable systems. Hey, if you get value from this, please do like and subscribe. It helps more than you'll ever know, and it helps us to help more people build successful property businesses. And I didn't want to leave you without anything. So what we've actually done, I created a blueprint which gets you from 20 to 30K per month in your property business. And it's completely free, by the way. And it's exactly the same process that we give to all of our clients. So go check it out. It's linked in the description. I'll catch you on the next one.